good time, so it's all good. We're
Say
gonna have
no mean mugs.
fun. Oh my gosh. All right. All right. Yeah, we're live. We're live. Everybody. We're live here. I'm just posting, making sure I share. You guys go ahead and share as well. I'm trying to get some things on my personal page here on
Oh,
Facebook.
yeah.
Um, let me see. Christina already told me I may have to refresh a few times. That's fine.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
to our audience, let's see. We're waiting for a few people to come into the room. That's fine. Come on in, guys. Don't forget to share. Please share. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
please share. I'm still waiting for. Oh, there we go. Yay! I see us, Ingrid. I see us. It's great.
Hey.
Awesome. So I'm going to get that shared
Okay.
and I'm going to get that shared and get this party started. And I just want to let everybody know right now, it's about to rain. It's about to get down outside. So you might see my lights flicker because this looks like this is it's just dark and somber and all that good stuff. So actually, I hear it now. Yep, it just started. So that's so great, Ingrid. All right, guys. Hi, ladies. Welcome to Kingdom Kinesis, where we inspire women to action through partnership with God, partnership with self, and partnership with community. We go live on Sundays from 3 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and then that's 2 to 2:30 CDT. Thanks for joining us today. Chris is here. She's in the background behind the scenes, manning the chat. So feel free to post your questions. Per Maya Angelou, nothing can dim the light that shines from within. And we all know that still waters run deep. This definitely holds true for today's guest, international music artist and founder and owner of iWOODE Productions, Ingrid Woode. The self-described painfully quiet musician and entrepreneur has embraced her journey from being a chemist to lover of arts and tech, both which provide her the ability to live her purpose out loud. Ingrid, welcome to Kingdom Kinesis.
Thank you. I appreciate this. I'm honored.
Oh,
Honored.
yeah, we're honored. I'm honored. I'm excited. We excited. We pumped. Thanks for joining us today. And I've spoken a little too much already. We're 2 minutes in, so I'm gonna just shut it up and ask you to tell us about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name's Ingrid Woode. I am from Cincinnati, Ohio, born and raised. What else? I am a proud HBCU graduate of Tuskegee University. Tuskegee, to you, you know, profession wise, I am a musician and producer. I have a business. It's called iWOODE Productions that produces mixed media content. So half of the business is video production, and the other half is music production. And like Katrina said, I spent part of the early part of my adult life were living not a double life, but also working in the science field as a chemist.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that because you aren't like the norm, and I hate talking about norms, stereotypes, but you aren't the norm. Like, your academic training and pedigree is in STEM. You worked as a chemist for 7 years, not one
Mhm.
year, not 2 months, not 6 months, but for 7 years. Then found yourself writing music for artists such as Layla Hathaway and Queen Latifah. How did you get there?
Well, it's not. I can't say the funny thing. I was I was born into a musical family, into a musical household. My mother she's a pianist, so she's a classically trained working musician. Her college degree is in music. So just really being born into that world of a working musician,
Mm.
just being exposed to everything which was normal for me.
Ah,
And I didn't think that everybody else lived that way necessarily. I just knew that, that's the life that I was kind of exposed to. Um, and then so just, really having access to all of, to concerts and plays and, to instruments around the house. And, I eventually took up the violin. When I was 8, so that was the instrument that really taught me the fundamentals. I spent like 7 years of my childhood playing orchestras. but just living as a normal kid. So, when I was a kid, SWV and
Uh,
Anita Baker and all that stuff. So I'm like, in my Walkman, I would have, Mozart and uh and who like Take Six. So, just kind of all of that. And I loved math and science. So fast forward,
right.
graduated from college and worked as a chemist for 7 years. But I went in there knowing that I wanted to do music.
Mm,
And so I worked those 7 years simultaneously building up iWOODE Productions. So I'm writing, producing, traveling. I remember I took off like a leave of absence for 5 weeks to go do a tour overseas. And I was really blessed in that situation because there was an understanding. I think there was an unspoken thing of I had kind of one foot in there, but they knew eventually I was gonna leave out of that world. But so within that time period, it was just opportunity led to this person, led to this situation. It was just little steps, but just really just building. So every minute that I had outside of work, I was working in iWOODE Productions.
that's I. Ooh, ooh, that's so juicy. I love that because so you're working, right? So you have the skill set for science, right? We got beakers and the periodic table,
Hmm.
but this passion and these natural, not yeah, like natural skills and aptitude are also in the arts.
Hmm.
And you realize and you kind of knew like my purpose necessarily isn't in science. This is what I'm doing for now
Yeah.
to take care of myself, right, and to live.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
my purpose is probably elsewhere. And I like how you said you used your time outside of work toward your purpose, what was what you felt passion for and what fueled you. And I think that's amazing and commendable because I think sometimes people, not I think, I know sometimes people confuse their work with purpose. And
Right.
what you do, your occupation isn't always related to your purpose. You could be like way like far off, and
Yeah.
so that's great. Thanks for sharing that. I hope someone
Yeah.
that's listening really catches that and finds that nugget in there.
Mhm.
So production in my mind, right, is pretty removed from STEM. But how did you fall into music production and video production? So, you go from like treble clef, bass clef, and now you're like, all right, I'm producing. How did we get there?
Just literally see, I think sometimes people think of like science and math as it not being creative, and not necessarily not being, but they
Mm,
don't think of it being as creative because people talk about, got right brain and left brain. But when you really think about it, all of it, science and math, is really all creativity because there was somebody who had to think of the Pythagorean theorem, and it didn't just happen. It wasn't information that was just known. Somebody had to think about, well, how do I get to this? And that really comes from creativity. And so for me, like music is, um, it's just really kind of letting my creative juices flow and using having access to tools to help me tell and craft stories. Um, but I mean, like as a kid, I was writing songs and producing songs. They sounded I could they sounded horrible, but the idea of just having something in your mind and creating it into something tangible is a skill that throughout my entire lifetime I was really working on without it being intentional.
mm,
Um, but I mean, and going from music production to video production, I've always loved videos. Um, or not videos, all those cameras and kind of capturing stories and cinema and things like that. But when I was working as a chemist, I would this was like around the time YouTube had been around for a few years. It was fairly new, but the concept of producing videos and putting them on the internet for content was fairly new, like maybe like within 5 years.
mm,
And I hated being on camera, but I found a way to make it work for me. So I would kind of show my production process with my cameras. And so I really learned how to work a camera and take it off of auto, and how to work a camera to tell the story the way I wanted to tell it. And so fast forward to 2015, my best friend, her name is Sadia. Some people know her as Sadia the Emmy. She's an entrepreneur as well. She was like, I want to produce videos. I want to produce content. And so I was like, let's do it. And so I produced multiple series with her, a docu-series, and like branding and photos and things. People started asking her, like, who does that? And pointed to me, and then people were like, how much do you charge for that? So it just became something that organically got added into what I was doing with the music side. And also because of the music, I already knew how to edit audio, which is really a greater part of video production than people think, because you can have a great looking video, but if the audio sucks, it's hard to get your story across. You don't think about it, but it really is. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds to really find a way to bring those two together.
I love that. We talk about partnering with the community here at Kingdom Kinesis, and you referenced how your best friend came to you and said, hey, let's make this happen. You two partnered. And then, right, God sent more and more and more people who needed exactly what he had developed in you. And you were bold enough to jump on it. You're like, all right, because I'm in my element.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
And it wasn't always easy, because I'm an extreme introvert. But you know, as you grow as you're an adult, you kind of learn how to not to say you grow out of it, but you learn how to deal with it and kind of maneuver it so that you can not let it hinder you from the things that you really want to do, even though it's scary, even though, because the simplest things for majority of people can be terrifying for me. But because I've had a lifetime of dealing with that, I've learned that you just got to walk through it. And majority of the time, I'm always glad on the other side. It's like, phew, I'm glad I did it. I wish I would have enjoyed the process a lot more, but I'm glad I went ahead and did it.
See, I'm done because, Nike says just do it, but you said just walk through it.
Yeah.
I do understand that is powerful because anxiety is real, being nervous is real, being concerned about negative feedback, having to perform in front of other people. That's real. And so if we always allow the things that make us uncomfortable to turn us around, then we won't reach the people that we need to reach.
Right.
And for you, you view what you do as storytelling. Everyone's purpose is defined differently. We have different purposes. We are assigned to different people. Yeah. But every time you're on the stage and you're in front of people, you view yourself. You said, I'm quoting because we had a conversation before, and you said that you tell stories, but through your stories, you provide people with healing. And that is powerful. So we need you to just walk through it so that the people who need to receive that healing can get it through your messages, your productions, and also through your music.
Yeah, because I think people think that if it's what you're supposed to do, that it's just supposed to be easy, and a lot of times it's not, because there was something that happened to me in 2012. I had a spinal injury, I had cut the front part of my throat, and the doctor was like, there's a chance that you may not even be able to speak after this. And so, so praying, of course, and my one friend, he was like, God, he's not going to take your voice away. You watch. And so after that, I had to work to get it back, because just to work to sit up straight was hard, and to get my voice back was hard too, and to learn how to use my new voice box. And then you got the scar on your neck, and people are asking what's wrong with your neck and all that all that sort of stuff. But what I learned, and I was like, man, if God gave me this voice and he didn't take it away, I really I can't not do it because it's scary or because it's terrifying. Because it is like nerves are real. And people, I mean, Barbara Streisand, she said she didn't perform for years because she had a horrible bout of stage fright. And I get it. But, just knowing that I have to, like I said, walk through it, walk up to the mic, and then about 5 minutes into it, it's okay. But just be willing to do that to share an experience with somebody or inspire somebody. I have to be willing to get over my own insecurities.
Wow, that's there's so much to unpack there, and I want to point out the level of gratitude that you had for your talent to say, God gave this to me. He has kept it. He's kept me. I have to walk through this because I need to show the gratitude that I have for it and use it accordingly. And it's the little things that we kind of take for granted at times.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think about the fact that I'm blessed to be able to podcast, and I'm sitting here with the microphone, right? What would happen if my voice was to be taken away? What would happen if the vehicle that I'm using would be removed? And that's amazing, because I don't think I've ever given thought to that. But I want to tell you, I thank you for pointing out the level of gratitude that we should all have daily for everything that we have access to, for health, for strength. If we have diminished capabilities, for what we do have, to still be grateful and have gratitude for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Okay, so you actually have toured, and I'm going off script here because you toured internationally. I know I had to do it. I'm sorry, because you've toured internationally, and how does that work out for you there? Because you said you're painfully quiet, you love storytelling, but yet you've managed to go to, I think, Spain, Portugal, Italy. I'm sure you got some other countries that I'm missing, and you have some more lined up. I'm sure some more are coming. Then how do you manage to do that with your orchestra? Like, how do we do that?
Well, see that, so I mean, it's just possible, but it's possible. No, but it's not easy. For some of those, like for one of those, is with a huge group of musicians. So it wasn't my responsibility to worry about how, when, where, any of that. It was just my responsibility to make sure I had my passport, make sure I was healthy, and be where I needed to be on time. but but with that, it's a team of people that was beyond me. That's a team of people that made that happen. But yeah, that was God right there.
But when opportunity comes, you're just like, all right, I'm down. What do I need to do to answer the call? That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, your People's Choice Award. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I, to make a long story short, there was a competition, a songwriting competition, and it had to be an original song. And if you won, if you won that, you would be able to have your song on Queen Latifah's album, or it would be produced, I guess, so to speak. So that's honestly that. So make a long story, because it's a long story, but to make that short, that's the gist of that. But in that process, I think that they thought, well, I'll just say I came in with like a fully produced song, because at that time I was still working I was still working as a chemist. So I came down, like my first year working as a chemist, I bought like a really good sequencer keyboard, decent microphone, and Pro Tools, which is like a recording software. Okay. And that was all I needed. And so I had like a fully produced song down there. When I went to the studio, these Grammy Award winning producers, I just pulled out my Pro Tools sessions, like, here we go. And so when Queen Latifah heard it, because it was just, my vocals were supposed to be reference vocals. So she was like, I like the way your voice sounds. We just need to keep you on the song. And so it ended up being on her album, but it was literally just my song on her album. They didn't do anything else to it. They just put it on there as is. And for me, that was a confidence booster, because it let me know that, to be honest, that was really the first song that let me know that it wasn't just me who thought that I had something to offer, that other people liked it, because it had to be voted on. It wasn't just Queen Latifah who made the decision. It was the United States had to vote for it. And yeah, there was an opportunity that kind of let me know, like, okay, this is I'm not just in my own head here, and it kind of gave me confidence to keep moving. And,
Okay.
and like I said, little things, that was one thing that led to another thing that led to another. But that was the thing that really kind of opened up the doors for me, that this is really possible. It's not just a dream. And I was talking to my friend about this before. It was something that I would think about all the time. Not that exact situation, but when I'd be driving to work, I'd be thinking about, being in recording sessions with Layla Hathaway. And the odd thing was, when I went to the recording session, the studio looked exactly the way that I had been imagining for
Wow.
like a couple years. But yeah, I try not to get long with it, but
No, it's okay. It's good. I mean, hello, People's Choice Award, and they took the song as is. You came ready, you were prepared, you came ready, you delivered. It was a done deal. That was just that. You got an award. Hello. Okay. So now we're 3 albums in, right? We have 3 albums. Tell us a little bit more about your albums.
okay. So the first project that I made that nobody has really ever heard, unless you knew me before 2009. That was really kind of like a project that I put together, just to sell myself as a songwriter and producer. And I didn't have an artist. I didn't have enough money to put behind an artist, to sing these songs, to perform these songs. So I was just like, I'll sing them. And so
Yeah.
the first album was just that. And that's what and honestly, all my albums have really kind of been tools for me to be like, this is what I'm able to do. It's really kind of like my resume, so if somebody hears it, or if somebody sees me perform, and they think like, well, who wrote that song or who produced that song? And I can be like, I can do this for you. And so that's really the how I kind of looked at the albums. But so my first album was called Night of 1,000 Songs, that nobody's really heard. Second one is called 2 Weeks Notice.
Yes.
And my most recent one, which is not that recent, is called Going Live in Five, with Ingrid Woode and the Wood Tribe Orchestra. And that last album is a live album. And I wanted it to be live, but I was thinking about their money, because a live album is expensive. So I was like, we're not doing the multiple takes and the different days, and we're just going to do it live. So the reason I did it live was to really just kind of save all money from multiple sessions and all of that good stuff. But it turned out really well, because all of those songs were songs that we had been performing before we went into the studio to record it.
Got it. So basically, you just don't stop. Like, you work around the clock. Is that why we're drinking the Red Bull this morning? Because we work around
Yeah,
the clock. And show them
I'm
the Red Bull.
tired.
Wings today, y'all. And then I'm not sitting here pushing Red Bull. I'm just saying, she got wings today. She's flying. But it sounds like this is so near and dear to your heart. And when you are fulfilling your purpose, you're passionate about it. It's something that
Mhm,
you just don't put down. Like, you have the notebook, you're constantly writing.
mhm.
Your mind is stayed on what's next and what you can accomplish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always I'm always inspired by just life. It's not just
Mm.
a song. I can be inspired by a movie. I'm inspired by this conversation. Um and I found, when I have those moments where I'm like, I just can't write anything, I really just I have to stop thinking about it and just allow myself to live. Watch that movie, turn on that Netflix, have that phone conversation, go take a walk, just to kind of absorb life a little bit, and or hear something that may catch. My phone is full of voice notes. And if you listen to it, it will sound crazy, because I can be anywhere and I'll just record something, and it's for me to produce out later. But yeah.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to go to the chat real quick.
Okay.
Lonnie Hammons, Lonnie, one of our regulars. Hi, Lonnie says, happy Sunday. A1 Nikki Moore
Hello.
Hawkins said, you repping the natty. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Janet the Tim is in the house. She says, hi. Hello, Janet.
Hi, Jen.
And awesome. Awesome. And Lonnie also says that, wow, this is an incredible personal story. It really is. I think every time I get to connect with you, Ingrid, I've been on
No,
the phone with you for like 30, 40
I
minutes.
I know.
I call her like my cup of tea because I love tea. But every time I talk to her, she's just so soothing, so calm, so relaxing. Like your whole demeanor is just like peace itself. So,
Yeah.
how do you describe your voice? Because I think of your voice as sultry. When I
It's
hear
so
you
true.
sing, I think of it as sultry. How do you describe your voice?
I would say that I've had some people say it's pure. But you asked me what do I think?
Yeah.
I think for me, ironically, to me, I think as weird as it sounds, I think it sounds like a violin, and I think that was just from so many years of playing it, and
Mhm.
so like my vocal vibrato sounds like my violin vibrato. And it's literally just like when you were calling somebody's house when you were a kid and you didn't know at a certain age, you didn't know if it was their sister or their mom,
Right.
and so I think my voice is really just a combination of all the things that I was kind of hearing, and a huge part of that was string instruments. Like when I'm trying to perform, the sound engineer will be like, your voice is very hard to engineer because it's thin, and so it's weird because trying not to get a lot of feedback. But I would describe it kind of like the lower register of like a violin, so just kind of smooth and clear.
Yeah, smooth. Ah, it is smooth. It is pretty smooth. It's pretty smooth. It's pretty smooth. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. No, because I was like, I wonder how she feels about her voice, like, how she would describe it. Because I know what I think, but I wonder what Ingrid thinks. So I just wondering. I just
Yeah.
wondering. So, production, singing,
Mhm.
fulfilling your purpose. And I kind of like gave it away. I said that you see it as, you're a storyteller and you help people heal through that. But how did
Mhm.
you get to that point where you realize that's what it is you're doing? Like you're not a technician or a producer or a songwriter or a chemist. You're someone that's healing. How did you realize that? When did you get to that point?
Honestly, for me, I think it's something that I realized from other people's, uh, from conversations that I've had with other people,
Mm,
and them just kind of letting me know, like, there's a
yeah.
soul thing that I feel when I listen to you, or when I see you live, or even when I see your videos. Like, there's some sort of like, there's a feeling, there's some sort of like a soul thing that I feel when I watch or when I hear the work that you do. And I think it's just from really, I think it's from years of being super quiet and observing the things around me, and
Mhm.
just kind of knowing how to translate that, and it's translate that in a sense so that other people can connect with it. And even like when I think about video production, when I went into that, it wasn't. I'm not the person where you hire to just hit record, because sometimes I'll get people who I want this type of video, and I'll say we could definitely do that, but it's probably gonna come off a little car salesman like. But if we tell this story this way, it'll captivate people in a way that that will bring them in and seem more genuine. And that's, I think, is honestly is something that I picked up from all these years of listening to music and from creating and kind of seeing people's reaction.
Wow. Okay. So when we talk about purpose here on the show, and we've had Sister Michelle Renee on a couple of weeks ago, and she was talking about purpose. One of the comments was that, you have to pay attention to what people are saying and the feedback that you're receiving,
Yeah.
because otherwise you're thinking like it's hobby sport. This is something I'm just really good at. I'm just really
Hmm.
good at. It's just like, no, there's something more there. And the fact that people come up and tell you like there's something solical happening with them, so their mind, their emotions are experiencing something when they're listening to you. That is amazing. I've never met. I'm be honest with you. I've never met someone whose purpose is storytelling. and is able to articulate it as healing. So when you told me that, I was blown away. I was just like, wait a minute. I'm still thinking like she's this, techie, entrepreneur, the STEM background, like, no, I'm purpose driven. I'm a storyteller and I help people heal. And it's very important that we bring that to light, because you have like you're someone that has beautiful mix of skills and talents and training, and then you bring it all together in order to move the kingdom of God forward. So that's amazing. I just want to honor you in saying that. I think it's really dope. And Saidia Solomon Mingo sent some hearts to us. She said 4 hearts. Thank you. Ingrid is on fire up here.
Sadia, that's my best friend. That's the one who
girl, thank you for telling her to get that camera. Let's make some things shake and happen. Okay, that's gonna work. It's really good. What's next for you, Ingrid?
What's next for me? So I am currently I'm working on a docuseries. It's called Songology. I can't share much about it, but what I can say is I have, it's on hiatus. I had a podcast that I did for like 2 or 3 years. And I had a segment on there called Songology. And so, my podcast was strictly audio. I would create video content for advertising and things like that, but it was strictly an audio podcast. And so just taking the idea of that and just really building that up and creating a docuseries out of that. So I am producing that now, and that should be out this fall, late fall.
Yay! Yep. Well, we got to have you back on because you got to announce it. You got to tell us about it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it. I'll be all up in your social media as well, trying to listen to more clips of you singing. All right. Well, Ingrid, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Any final thoughts before I close us out?
Final thoughts? Yeah. I'll say this, and I'm going to make it really short. And because I know I'm talking to women who want to work and, do work for the kingdom. And what I found out so far, because of course I'm still learning, what I found out so far is that, a lot of times we think about things like this has to be the thing. This has to be the interview or the conference or whatever. And so what I have found is that everything, all these little things are there's no just one thing, right? Everything is something that leads to the next. And even the things that don't work out, because had this not worked out, you wouldn't have made that left turn that brought you to meet this person and bring you to this opportunity. So I just want to leave people with, I think it's important to focus on it's the things that people don't see that really get you to the place where you want to go. So every single thing you do is the thing, as little as it may seem and as invisible as it is to a lot of people. Everything that you do is the thing.
I love that everything you do is the thing. And that reminds me of what last week's guest said. You're not just something, you are everything. And you're saying it is the thing. And this is wonderful, because the longer you're in the kingdom, the longer you're on your journey, you realize that it's the small steps that accumulate over time that build for the kingdom. I want to thank you so much for sharing that. Ingrid, I love you, girl. I can't wait to be back on the show. So, guys, special shout out to previous guests, iWOODE Moore Hawkins of Soul Palette and Kristen Weber. Soul Palette recently launched in the DMV area, and Kristen celebrated 2 years recovery from a swimming accident that left her paralyzed. Kristen is now walking and running today. Congrats to you both. Be sure to check out the Kingdom Kinesis podcast with Kristen and iWOODE if you missed them. So thanks to our featured guest, our spotlight, Ingrid Woode, today for coming by, and for everyone else for tuning in. Stay safe until next time. Remember, you are essential to the kingdom of God, women. Stay on the move. We're out.